It all kicks off with our main character bawling in a group chat about time traveling. Naturally, everyone else keeps it 100% sane and labels him as the resident drama queen. But our MC isn't having any of that fake news. He doubles down, swearing up and down that he's telling the truth, and even throws a video call their way. Plot twist. Before anyone can even hit accept, a squad of ancient sword-riding warriors and mystical beasts crash the scene like it's the wildest cosplay party ever, coming straight for poor MC like he just stole their Pokemon snacks. The sheeniest cultivator in the crew steps forward, all high and mighty, accusing MC of beast food theft and demanding some serious payback like, bro, calm down, it's just a snack, not the crown jewels. Turns out this MC really did time travel. He ran through a whole mental Netflix queue of how it might happen, but never in a million years did he expect to get launched headfirst into a different dimension like some low-budget sci-fi flick. Cue the infamous truck coon charging like a maniac, but somehow MC dodges it while puffing and panting because seriously, who doesn't hate a truck that blows through red lights? Then just when you think things can't get wilder, a girl and her dog come barreling into MC and start spinning him around like a fidget spinner on steroids. As if that wasn't enough, MC takes a nosedive straight into an open manhole. Next scene, MC wakes up to the sound of voices and finds himself staring down a dog with a horn and tiny wings. Panic mode hits naturally, but then MC looks around and realizes other bizarre creatures are eyeballing him too. He wonders if he's tripping hard, but then the winged dog licks him, and MC jumps back only to slam into a giant electric frog like getting shocked by a living nightlight. After what can only be described as a literal lightbulb moment, MC pulls it together, realizing these beasts don't seem to want to chomp on him. He scopes out his surroundings. A beast pen. No freakout because hey, he's got his phone and surprise, it still has signal, so he's convinced it's just some elaborate prank. He even tries snapping a pic of the winged dog to ID the species, but the internet is like, nah man, that's AI-generated nonsense. MC notices the date hasn't changed, and with the survival instincts of a toddler, he pokes the frog again. Smart enough to call the cops, but naturally the call won't go through due to network issues. Then out of nowhere, a talking crow drops knowledge about the place. Immortal Spirit Mountain, an ancient sect with 2,500 years of history. MC's not buying it. He's convinced it's some prank show and decides to bounce. But when he touches the door, it slingshots him into a pile of hay like a broken carnival ride. The crow calls him a dumbass for missing the beast pen's restriction, and MC checks his hands, suspicious if some secret tech is messing with him. He finally entertains the time travel theory, but figures he can just hit up a friend since his phone still works. Meanwhile, the dog watches MC sulking and brings him some dog food. MC's all no thanks, I'm good, but the dog goes full demo mode, clearly thinking this poor dude needs a tutorial on basic eating skills. MC's stomach growls louder than a bass drop at a concert, but he's stubborn and would rather starve than touch dog food. His stomach has other plans though, grumbling again, and he reluctantly accepts his new reality. Survival means eating dog food now. Welcome to the glow up from human to beast pen gourmet, Mo Wang style. Mo Wang, fresh from a wild time travel adventure, decides to hit up the internet for some backup. Everything around him is bonkers and unclear, but hey, at least the Wi-Fi's still strong and his phone battery hasn't given up yet. Trying to prove he's not just messing around, he sends his friends a video of a dog hoping they'll buy the time travel story. But nope, his so-called sane friends immediately jump to the AI prank conclusion. Not one to be ghosted, Mo Wang calls them on a video call, showing all the bizarre creatures lurking nearby, basically challenging them to say this isn't real. Finally, with the live action proof, the squad starts believing the unbelievable. After the call, the gang is scratching their heads. Sure, the phone connects to the internet, but what kind of messed up world did Mo Wang land in? Charging the phone becomes mission number 1, along with figuring out this new reality. Here's the kicker. Food isn't a problem, but it's all dog food. Yep, not exactly a Michelin star feast. Mo Wang's only spilled the time travel beans to his closest circle, Ashuan, the tech whiz who probably dreams in circuits, A Yao, the planner who's apparently got a PhD in client revisions, and A Liang, the otaku streamer who's basically the Encyclopedia Britannica of time travel hacks. With this crew, Mo Wang's not flying solo. Ashuan sends a video tutorial on building a generator but throws in a warning about the frog's voltage because of course even frogs have voltage now. Meanwhile, A Liang drops some knowledge about a cheat or power-up system, common in these scenarios. Mo Wang tries calling out the system's activation names like some kind of gamer summoning spells, but nada. Looks like this world skipped the cheat codes. Not missing a beat, A Liang suggests channeling the devouring evolution by munching on some local creatures. Mo Wang steps forward but immediately ghosts at the size of these beasts, double-checking if she's seriously asking him to hunt monsters. A Liang, knowing her friend's limits, tells him to scout for artifacts instead. As Mo Wang looks around, he wonders if his real cheat code is actually his friends backing him up. The answer is pretty obvious. Still, A Liang can't help but call Mo Wang's time travel entrance tragic, harsh but maybe fair. 7 hours later, Mo Wang is still stuck in the stinky beast pen, surviving on nothing but tasteless dog food. Weirdly though, it gives him this warm energy vibe. His final verdict? This world is a total downgrade. He's missing his AC, binge-worthy anime, hot pot sessions, and of course milk tea, the holy trinity of comfort. Just as he's about to lose it, the door swings open, and 3 figures step in. Mo Wang's eyes lock on the enchanting fairy with charming eyes, soft lips, and a bulky bosom because of course fairies have to check all the boxes. The fairy starts her magic audit, while her sidekick brags about how tight security is, even mosquitoes can't sneak past. She showcases the star players, the thunder frog, a 3-eyed crow that can talk like a parrot, and a dog that's basically the plant whisperer. When the caretaker hypes up about the dog, Mo Wang accidentally gets exposed. Quick on his feet, he spins a tale that he's a new spirit beast disguised as a human, zipping around like a boss. To seal the deal, he zooms out of the pen with a slick move, aka saving his life. As Mo Wang bolts for his life like he just saw the bill at an all-you-can-eat buffet, the sidekick, who's about as useful as a screen door on a submarine, wonders if this humanoid beast is even a thing. The dumb-looking dude pipes up, suggesting the guy might be some sneaky intruder who slipped into the beast pen. The sidekick, suddenly waking up from her nap, whips out her whip and orders the beast to go catch the poor guy like he's the last slice of pizza. Right when things are about to get even messier, the friends hit up a voice call, probably to send some virtual support or just to laugh at Mo Wang's misfortune. But Mo Wang, clearly not in the mood for a group chat, just keeps running for dear life. He's almost at the door when a slash of energy zips through the air, slicing his cheek like a bad haircut. Turns out the crow, the creature that looks like it escaped from a dark poetry book, is the one attacking him while the other beasts surround him like they're auditioning for a monster movie. The fairy steps forward, asking how Mo Wang even got in. She throws a side eye at the sidekick for her laughable security measures, but the girl starts apologizing as if saying sorry will magically fix the chaos. She knows only some high-level cultivator could bypass a 4th-grade spirit array, so she pulls out a bunch of talismans, probably from a How to Be a Boss starter pack, and decides to test the intruder's skills. Mo Wang starts sweating bullets because even a crow's windblade could end him. Yet here she is stacking buffs like he's some kind of supervillain. The girl can't sense any spiritual energy from him, so she figures he's either hiding it with some fancy treasure, or is way stronger than her. She tries to impress the fairy and gets all serious when Mo Wang moves, but plot twist, he just drops to his knees and starts begging like he's auditioning for Most Humble Mortal. The crow wakes Mo Wang up, and he finds himself tied to a pillar while the fairy double-checks that he's as spiritless as a reality TV star's talent. She grills about the missing items, and the sidekick rattles off that they're short 452 spirit plants and 250 loads of beast feed. She accuses Mo Wang of stealing, but he's quick to clap back, saying there's no way he could have eaten 250 loads of feed in a year, let alone a few hours. The fairy points out that Mo Wang is just a mortal with no spiritual energy, because if he really slipped through her radar, only the big-shot elders in the sect could pull that off. She orders the sidekick to fix the beast pen's accounts in 7 days, no excuses like mortal ate it all allowed. To make sure Mo Wang really gets the message, the fairy zaps him with a laser that supposedly will wreck his body and soul if he tries to leave the sect. Then she drops the mic with the final order. The sidekick has to erase Mo Wang's memory and send him back to the mortal world within 7 days. No sneaky tricks allowed. Once she's gone, the sidekick goes full lecture mode on the dumb boy for messing with the spirit beast feed, but then decides to pin the whole feed disaster on Mo Wang by messing with his mind. She reaches out trying to figure out exactly how he got into the beast pen, and Mo Wang panics because if she finds out he transmigrated, he's basically toast. Meanwhile, on the other side, the friends are putting 2 and 2 together, realizing their buddy got caught and is probably about to have a soul inspection that's going to be less friendly neighborhood checkup and more interrogation from hell. The soul-searching technique is like diving headfirst into someone's subconscious and dragging out a massive info dump, but it's usually off-limits because the soul is deep, mysterious, and honestly, who knows what kind of weird stuff you might stumble upon lurking in there. The sidekick is itching to uncover Mo Wang's secrets, but her buddy drops some real talk. Her spell isn't strong enough to pull off soul-searching like a seasoned pro. But does she listen? Nope. She plunges straight into the chaotic mind of a 21st century 2D otaku. Usually a regular person's mind is pretty basic, mostly random life scraps patched together. But Mo Wang, the dude's brain is a whole circus thanks to his intense binge-watching of YouTube shorts, making his mind a wild battlefield of planes, warriors, beasts, and robots, all throwing down like it's the next big blockbuster. The sidekick's eyes light up watching mega beasts duke it out, only for a nuke to drop and end the party. She drifts through scenes that make zero sense, so she zeroes in on what he obsesses over the most. She casts the spell and bam, suddenly there's soft lips, thick legs, and some risque affair playing out. The scene gets blurred out. In fairness, that's for everyone's sanity, but the sidekick watches every shameless second like it's primetime drama. When she finally cuts the connection, her knees hit the ground. Too much brain chaos for one day. The dumb guy rushes over all curious about what she saw, but she's like, nah, my spell skills aren't top tier enough to remember all that. Naturally, the dumb guy wants to give it a shot himself, but she stops him like it's a matter of life or death. Suddenly, Mo Wang wakes up and yells at them to back the heck off. The dumb guy's impressed by how fast Mo Wang bounced back and tries to cast a forgetfulness spell because clearly they got zero useful intel so far. But just as the spell's about to hit, Mo Wang pipes up with a bold claim. He can balance the accounts in 7 days. The dumb guy's skeptical, obviously, but the sidekick's all in. She trusts Moang's mad skills based on the wild stuff she saw in his head, even if those scenes were borderline NSFW. So the dumb guy calls a truce, warning Moang that if he doesn't fix the accounts in a week, he's getting wiped from the sect faster than a bad app update. But if he succeeds, he'll get a safe exit from the mountain. Oh, and they point him to a little house near the beast pen, where he can camp out and crunch those numbers. Once the crew splits, Moang pulls out his phone, only to find the battery gasping for life. His friends overhearing everything on the call don't miss a beat. Fix your charger first, dude, then we'll talk ledgers. Meanwhile, the sidekick's head is spinning so hard from all the crazy scenes she's witnessed today, she's basically one brain glitch away from meltdown. Moang casually asks about the finances and money spending, like he's checking the budget of a failing startup. The dumb guy proudly announces that besides trying to become immortal, he also has this side hustle, writing books. A few days ago, he met some dude claiming to be the son of a publishing house owner who had hit rock bottom and needed cash for the journey home. This young master promised generous rewards and help with publishing the book. Oh, and get this, he only needed 300 spirit coins, a total steal like a Black Friday deal for gullible fools. Moang instantly guesses that our dummy probably swiped coins from the beast pen to fund this scam, but the dummy guy, ever the optimist, insists he'll pay back once his book gets published, like a broke author who's sure their first novel will be a bestseller. Moang presses for more details, and the dummy pulls out a family heirloom from the merchant's son as collateral. Spoiler alert, the heirloom is chipped and busted, classic evidence that our dummy got played. But nope, denial mode activated. The dummy insists the merchant's son even wrote to him afterwards, so it must be legit. He whips out a letter asking for more money, after which Moang's deadfish stare screams, "Bro, how much cash did you send this time?" The dummy sheepishly admits he sent money 6 more times but still believes it's worth it, if the deal finally closes. Talk about commitment to a sinking ship. Moang keeps digging, asking about the merchant's son's village. The dummy says it takes a month for regular folks to get there, and it's been 2.5 months since he left. Translation: the merchant's son has long reached his destination and has been running a scam marathon on our dummy all along. Moang suggests an epic solution: just fly to the village on his sword in a day and demand the money back with some sharp sword justice. The dummy jumps into action immediately, but Moang stops him, snatching all his money to prevent another episode of getting played the sequel. He hands the dummy a list of stuff he needs and demands he hit up the sex workshop for these essentials. The dummy, surprisingly cooperative, agrees and takes Moang on a sword ride to a cave. Inside the cave is a massive door, probably designed for elephants that hit the gym. They go inside to find a sleeping old man, and Moang can't help but stare at the interior like it's an ancient luxury hotel. The dummy wakes the old man and randomly declares that Moang is a new disciple in need of sect equipment. Then, like a true introvert, he dorks out and bails because he's got important stuff to do. Classic ghost move. The old man reads the list and asks if Moang is making a weapon. Moang is shook that the old man actually knows this tech stuff. The old man reveals they have electricity, thanks to spiritual orbs, but usually use it to zap wild beasts with traps. So basically, they've got ancient Wi-Fi for beast hunting. After this enlightening lecture, Moang scores a free sect robe, a sect manual, and a monthly allowance of 30 spirit coins. To claim his monthly goodies, all he has to do is touch a stone to register himself. The old man goes straight back to sleep like a boss, while Moang touches the stone and registers himself effortlessly. To test the spiritual orb's juice, Moang charges his phone and boom, it actually works. Modern tech meets ancient magic, and suddenly, everything feels like a glitch in the Matrix. Since the phone is charging again, the friend gang hyped Moang up to rise like a phoenix and win over all the girls, basically turning him into the ultimate player of the century. Moang quickly reminds them that he's not their digital pet or some virtual Tamagotchi to be commanded at will. He actually wants to figure out a way back, but his friends drop the time travel rule bomb. To return, he needs to cultivate to the peak. Plus, they throw in a savage truth. Who really wants to come back to the soul-sucking life of a wage slave when eternal life is on the other side? Naturally, they beg him to share the cultivation manual so they can try leveling up too. Moang, feeling generous or maybe just tired of their nagging, agrees and sends them potato-quality images of the manual that look like they were taken with a flip phone from 2005. Moang tries to study, but his head starts to hurt. It's all brand new to him, like trying to understand rocket science with a hangover. He attempts to chill and take a break, but Yao instantly scolds him for daring to go online while studying. Moang obeys because, honestly, he is too scared to argue and dives back into the manual like a desperate student cramming the night before finals. The manual lays down the basics. The first step is to build a spiritual platform. Cultivation has 9 stages, and the initial step involves drawing spiritual light into one's body. It says the basic breathing technique can calm the mind and help sect disciples sense spiritual energy, which sounds like some fancy meditation app on steroids. Moang gives it a shot, and by some miracle he feels the spiritual energy. However, if he loses focus for even a second, the feeling vanishes, proving he is no cultivation prodigy but more like your average Mihi player. He tries really hard, but the energy just won't flow into his body like it's on a strict no-entry list. The manual makes it clear, Those who can guide spiritual energy on the first try are basically gods, while those who only feel it but can't pull it in are, well, average at best. So Mawang accepts his fate as the cultivation world's version of a middle-of-the-pack gamer. After finally crashing asleep, someone sneaks into his room and approaches him. It's the sidekick, here to read Mawang's mind again like some psychic stalker. But the moment she tries to invade his thoughts, Mawang wakes up and zooms in on her with the intensity of a creep caught red-handed. After an awkward stare-down that could have been an indie horror scene, they manage to lighten the mood. The sidekick asks why Mawang isn't asleep in the middle of the night, but Mawang points out the obvious. She is the one barging into his room like it's no big deal. This, unsurprisingly, makes the sidekick fume like a kettle on high heat, and she proceeds to beat him up to a pulp. After getting pummeled, Mawang begs her to spare his face, since, you know, he makes a living off this glorious mug. That's when the sidekick drops her name, by Z, and blushes while explaining something is seriously off with his soul. She guesses that Mawang isn't from this world, which makes him panic like a cat in a room full of rocking chairs. But Beiji goes on, saying she finds his mind suspicious and needs to soul-search him again. Mawang notices her blush while she talks about his mind, sparking the big question: what exactly does she see? He is pretty sure his thoughts are as clean as a whistle, but Beiji's reaction says otherwise. She even threatens to take his life since he's figured out her little secret. Panic mode activates and Mawang immediately offers to let her look into his mind, trying to strike a deal before things get too deadly. Beiji insists it's just an investigation, but Mawang isn't buying it. They are definitely negotiating terms like they're in a shady business deal. Meanwhile, in the group chat, while A Yao and A Liang are still stuck at square one in cultivation, A Xuan flexes a little by telling everyone he can faintly see a bit of spiritual energy, dropping that humble brag like a pro. The power of science versus the ancient cultivation world. Who really holds the upper hand? Mawang confidently points out that it all boils down to the volume of information. Then, without a hint of shame, he drops the bomb that he's actually from another world, a prince who somehow fell into the mortal realm. Naturally, this piques Bai Zi's curiosity, cause who wouldn't be intrigued by a prince with a dramatic backstory? Mawang says he's from a different cultivation world and needs her help, which sounds like a plot straight out of a fantasy soap opera. Bai Zi, finally using her brain for once, asks for some solid evidence. Mawang cleverly reminds her that she's already peeked into his mind, so that should count as proof. This revelation gives Bai Zi the excitement of a lifetime, totally geeking out over the idea that Mawang hails from such a mystical place. Meanwhile, Mawang feels pretty confident that she hasn't seen anything too embarrassing or inappropriate in his mind, which, let's be honest, is both relief and a low bar. To seal the deal, he shows her a chipped heirloom as further evidence. Bro Bai Zi inspects it, but the worn-out state of the heirloom instantly makes Mawang panic. Classic move, he grabbed the wrong artifact. Thinking on his feet, he finally reveals his phone and places it on the table for a better demonstration. He opens up his folders, showing her some hidden files, and Barzi perks up, finally convinced it's the real deal. Just as Mawang puts his phone away, Barzi questions why a prince like him has no cultivation at all. Mawang spins a tale about losing all his cultivation during his journey between worlds. A story so smooth it almost sounds believable. Surprisingly, Baizi actually buys it, which makes Mawang feel a twinge of guilt because, let's be real, he totally stole that lie from some low-level scammer's playbook. Baizi then asks if he has any method to settle the accounts of the beast pen, and threatens that he won't be off the hook if he can't figure it out. Talk about pressure. Mawang, unfazed, pulls out his phone and finds that the results are in. He decides to wow Baizi with some modern tech magic. They move to the next room, which houses the beast pen's ledgers, stacks of dusty old tomes going back hundreds of years. Baizi assumes they can't possibly sort through all that in a few days, but Mawang casually drops that they only need to check the last decade to catch any issues. Turns out he already took pictures of the recent ledgers and had Awen organize and analyze them. For people stuck in this ancient world, these numbers look as confusing as celestial charts, but with modern tech, comparing them is a breeze. Kind of like using a cheat code in a game. Mawang states the accounts are a total mess, with numbers not matching up anywhere. Someone's been messing with the purchasing process, straight up embezzling like it's an ancient day fraud scheme. Bro Z is seriously impressed, clearly not used to such sharp detective work, and she asks what the next move is. Mawang tells her to drag the person in charge of procurement in front of them and make him cough up the truth about the embezzlement. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Aishun can clearly feel the presence of spiritual energy swirling around him. He wonders if their current planet can actually support cultivation too. Maybe Earth's about to get a glow-up in the mystical department. Baizi zooms in faster than a caffeine-fueled cheetah and crashes into the accounting department like a tornado on a budget. The poor guy who was enjoying his beauty sleep jolts awake, looking like he just saw a ghost, and throws shade, warning her off for daring to disturb his nap with such sass. But Baizi, unfazed, hurls the ledgers right at him, dropping receipts hotter than a TikTok scandal, claiming she's highlighted all the shady discrepancies and ridiculous prices from the last few years. While she breaks down the whole mess, the accountant starts his usual "we're honest and fair" anthem, basically flexing his self-righteousness like it's a trophy. Before things get too heated, Moang slides into the convo like a smooth operator, saying they do trust the accounting crew, but maybe those ledgers could use a little makeover. He casually mentions they brought the revised ledgers because they spotted some fishy stuff. The chubby accountant's eyes literally pop out like cartoon characters when he sees the balanced and polished ledgers. Turns out Moang had Asui call in a retired guru to sprinkle some magic on the numbers. Moang then hits the accountant up with a favor, and the guy starstruck drops the formal act and welcomes the chat. Moang takes advantage, whispering about their financial struggles and casually asks for a loan. The accountant dude doesn't even hesitate, tossing a heavy pouch of cash like it's Monopoly money. Moang grabs the rest of the ledgers and bounces, even managing to slip his contact info when the accountant asks for future help. Smooth like butter. Gray, finally seeing the mighty accounting department take an L, opens the fat pouch and finds enough loot to cover most of their deficit. She's shook, wondering just how much the procurement office has been sneaking away over the years to stash such treasures. She clings to Moang like a lifeline, making him blush harder than a teenager caught texting their crush. She playfully calls him out as a perv when she figures out why he's red-faced. Moang tries to play it cool, explaining he's just not used to being close to girls because, spoiler alert, his relationship count is 0. He also clarifies he's not into little girls like Baizi, but more into ladies like that fairy they know. Changing gears, he hints about returning the favor, but Baizi shuts down his secret plans faster than a TikTok trend fades. Then Moang drops the bomb. He actually wants to stay and cultivate here by joining the sect. Baizi's a bit bummed but lets him in, and Moang thanks her like a genuinely grateful puppy. With his spot finally locked down in this bizarre new world, Moang's already clocked that people aren't as shady as he thought, and bonus points, his phone still connects to the internet, giving him a major edge. To get his foundation solid, he pops some spiritual pills and meditates like a Zen master binge-watching enlightenment tutorials. Soon enough, he breezes into the spiritual light realm, officially leveling up in the cultivation game. Moang's first move? Blowing up his friend's group chat with the news. Meanwhile, Asubai's over there, totally bummed, feeling like he's lost the cultivation vibe. Elsewhere, some mysterious hooded figures are scheming, talking about summoning rituals and hunting for that guy from the other world because they want to ascend to Earth. Can you imagine? The pretty fairy eyes the freshly corrected ledgers with a mix of intrigue and approval, then shifts her gaze to Moang, sizing him up for joining their sect. Baizi rushes in like a hype squad captain, explaining that her master handpicked Moang, but left him chilling in the beast pen, leaving everyone else scratching their heads. The fairy buys the story, intrigued by the potential she sees in Moang for cultivation, and asks Baizi to look after him. Moang soaks up the compliment like it's the latest viral trend, feeling pretty fly, but the fairy quickly drops some serious tea about the sect's massive evaluation, basically a once in 30 years Dragon Gate assembly, a high-stakes competition that grants access to secret realms. Then, like a mystical influencer, the fairy departs gracefully on a lotus flower, leaving Moang blushing harder than a fan spotting their idol. Baizi catches his starstruck stare and yells at him for being so obvious, and Moang tries to play off his crush like a maiden suddenly caught in the spotlight. Before anyone can roast him further, a loud crash interrupts the moment. Enter the dumb guy, still rocking his birth outfit like a fashion disaster from the Stone Age. He wants to spill his whole saga but Moang cuts him off, already knowing this guy traded his clothes for a bunch of empty promises again. Sure enough, the dumb guy's latest scam was a promise that his book would be published. Moang, unimpressed, advises him to never go down the mountain again because his innocence is just too precious for that wild world. Baizi then proceeds to deliver an epic scolding and a beatdown while Moang tells everyone to get back to the grind. Next, Moang takes to the skies, flying on a sword like a total boss to scan the terrain and map things out. Then he hits the library, where the librarian's jaw practically hits the floor, seeing how many books he's borrowed in just 5 days. She informs him that he's already devoured all the books, and to get his hands on the premium stuff he'll need more cultivation and a higher rank. Basically, a VIP pass is required. Moang takes it in stride and quickly tells his friends he's uploaded everything to the cloud because duh, he's got the tech hookup. Akron sets up a private cloud for the data. Ayral finesses a cover story for Moang's parents about a long business trip. And Leon gets the torrents he needs. Teamwork making the dream work. Baizi steps in to school Moang about their beast sect and teaches him a mantra to command the beasts. He tests it on a frog and much to his surprise, the lightning no longer zaps him. Turns out having cultivation is like a natural shield now. Moang then impresses her with some martial sect techniques, sparking her interest, but her cultivation level is still too low to pull off those moves. No worries, Moang's got his own grand plan brewing to shake things up. When Baizi asks if he's got anything cool to show off, he whips out his phone, calling it a family heirloom that links to other worlds. Of course, it's no free lunch. This bad boy drains his life force and needs a special bond to operate, so only he can use it. He flips through folders filled with snippets from other consciousness spaces, which gets Brosy hyped. But 20 minutes later, she's found crashing on the floor, overheated from whatever she saw this time. Later, Moans gets down to business, using his spiritual energy to craft some high-tech gear because why not level up his powers with a little bit of science sprinkled on top? This guy is about to shock the cultivation world in ways nobody saw coming. It has been over 2 months since Moang transmigrates, and chaos is still his daily companion. One day someone comes banging on his door demanding a traveling beast like it's some kind of fast food order. But Moang, cool as ever, asks for the ID and all the usual red tape. When the man finally steps inside, his jaw drops at the bizarre collection of strange stuff littering the place. Moang, rocking that smug "I'm the boss here" vibe, proudly flaunts his little creations before moving on to fetch a beast for the guy. The man's eyes nearly pop out when he sees the size of the beast. Seriously, who ordered the Fix XL? Moang, unfazed, assures him the sect's been feeling generous lately, feeding their beasts like they just came back from an all-you-can-eat buffet. The man, practical as ever, takes the beast because it's mission critical, but good luck moving that giant. After sweating buckets like he just ran a marathon, the guy shyly asks if he can swap the beast for a smaller one. Moang deadpans that this is the skinniest beast they've got. Handing over some beast food, Moang accidentally drops some on the man's clothes. That's basically a love potion for the horse, who immediately zooms over and starts smothering the man with affection. Talk about can't resist this dude vibes. Meanwhile, Moang, completely oblivious to the chaos behind him, rummages through his pouch looking for the love potion, but finds only beast food. The poor man, caught in this furry ambush, begs for an explanation before making a swift exit, running because his life depends on it. Watching the man sprint away, Moang wonders why he needed a beast to travel faster when the guy's already sprinting like an Olympian. Shrugging, Moang turns back to his projects, enjoying the fact that each mountain peak is like a separate branch office. Using his 1000 transformation technique, he replicates a few phones, but these clones are as useless as bricks without network access. Only his original phone has internet, so he dumps the clones into the growing pile of gadgets. Not stopping there, Moang uses phone chips and cultivation techniques to invent an automatic feeder, but judging by the results, he's gone a bit overboard with the snacks. The beasts look more like they're training for a sumo competition than a mission. Besides that, he crafts new phones, printers, and drones. The printers pump spiritual energy into talismans, basically doing the low-level magic version of print, scan, copy. The drones, powered by spiritual energy batteries, can fly for over 10 hours, making them the ultimate delivery service in this world. Feeling ambitious, Moang decides it's time to level up and create bigger, better stuff. Using all his energy, he quickly realizes he needs to power up himself first, because crafting giant tech isn't a walk in the park. Just then, his phone buzzes. His group chat is blowing up like a viral meme. Asura drops the bomb that Moang's mother is seriously ill, needing 3 million for special therapy or else a bone marrow transfer. Moang can't come back to donate, and his wallet is emptier than a ghost town. Asura pitches a wild idea. Why not start live streaming from the other world to rake in some cash? Moang, not even sweating the risk of revealing his time travel secret, tells his friends to set up everything for the stream. And just like that, Moang is ready to turn his transmigration saga into primetime entertainment. All the sects from the mountain come together for a big meeting, where Lu Shan, the acting sect master of Shenling Mountain, steps up to lay down some hard truths. Everyone except the beast and merchant sects is running low on supplies. Then comes the hot topic, the sect elections. The martial sect is hyped up, gunning for the top spots like it's a championship game. The formation sect is right there with them, riding the hype wave, while the merchant and tools sects play it cool, staying neutral. The beast sect, mostly asleep on the job, probably dreaming about their next nap. This laid-back attitude drives Sekta up the wall. She's trying to unite all their disciples, not babysit a bunch of slackers. To make things worse, they have the Amber Dew Springs, a rare and powerful cultivation booster, and everyone's eyeing it like it's the last slice of pizza. The situation is tense because the sect master is deep into secluded cultivation, and the beast sect master has mysteriously vanished. Even with all this drama, the elders stay stubborn, refusing to budge. Sekta's headaches from the stress, and she wishes, not for the first time, that someone else could handle all this mess. Meanwhile, at the beast sect, Moang is feeling pretty down. His live streams are total ghost towns, no viewers except his 3 friends hyping up the chat like they're running a party of one. He realizes he just doesn't have that natural vibe to connect with people, but then a lightbulb moment hits. Maybe he can get someone else to stream for him. Just then Baizi walks in, clearly exhausted and asking to borrow the phone. Moang checks out her shiny personality and thinks, well, here's my livestream star. He explains the livestream app, making it clear that the higher the view count, the more chill time she gets to scroll through her phone and watch whatever she wants. Baizi is all in, hyped to do this thing. Suddenly the dumb guy crashes the scene, begging to join because he wants to read novels. A few days back, this same guy was begging Moang to lend him the phone after getting hooked from a quick demo. So now, with Moang leaving the two in charge, Baizi's determined to boost views. She gets the memo that the quickest way is to throw down a wild PK, player knockoff battle with crazy energy to hit the 1 million target. Baizi takes the challenge seriously and jumps right in. Her first opponent? Tong Jin, who's rocking 20 million views, and even asks her out for a drink mid-stream. Baizi thinks fast, pulling from all the movies she's seen, and comes back with the perfect line. Her husband isn't home and she can't go out alone. Tong Jin's game crashes hard. He loses followers by the second, while Baizi is too busy roasting the dumb guy in chat to care. She even starts throwing down not-so-verbal punches live, earning mad respect from viewers impressed by her savage attitude. Baizi's stoked when the views climb because that means more time to binge her favorite AVs, which sends the chat into overdrive with excitement. Tongjin tries again to ask her out, but Baizi plays hard to get, claiming she can drink the strongest sect wine and still stay sober. Tongjin digs this wild side, and the chat feeds off the energy. But as soon as Baizi hits 1 million views, she tells Mowang and cuts the livestream off mic drop moment. Tongjin's impressed she shut it down despite the massive numbers. Mowang meanwhile watches in awe, realizing he just witnessed something truly next level. Tongjin starts following Baizi and even hits her up for a collab. You know, sliding into DMs like a pro. Meanwhile, Mowang is watching the invite like it's the hottest drop of the year, wishing he could just teleport there ASAP. His squad's got his back, hyping him up every step of the way to promote his channel like loyal hype men. Mowang throws them a grateful nod, but they're like, bro, chill on the streaming grind for now. Focus on cultivating and shooting for that ascension glow up. The next few days, smoother than butter on a hot skillet. Views spike as everyone tunes in to see Baizi collab with Tongjin, vibing with divine beasts like it's just another day. They're all shook, wondering how she makes these beasts look like they just hit the gym and bulked up overnight. Baizi drops some knowledge about the beasts, but totally blanks on the common world stuff. She can't wrap her head around why Mowang insists she play a little dumb, though she gives it a shot with the classic dumb look straight out of those cringe AV actor tutorials. Mowang tries to stop her mid-act, but it's too late. Screenshots are flying. The internet's already off in the corner, acting like a bunch of thirsty pervs at a convention. Then the dumb guy barges in like he owns the place to announce it's election time for the sect. Mowang's like, alright, stream's over, dropping the mic with a curt sign-off. But Boss Whoops Z whips in with her adorable antics, saving the vibe like a pro. Mowang can't help but admit deep down she's basically born to be a live streaming queen. No cap. After the stream, they bounce over to Shineling Mountain for the election showdown. Mowang's jaw drops when he sees the crowd. Turns out their sect's got mad visitors because other sects are rolling in to watch this big event. Curious, Mowang asks why their sect only has 3 disciples, and the 2 spill the tea. Their beast sect got ghosted big time. Their master has been MIA on Beast Mountain for 12 years, like a legendary NPC gone rogue. Their whole fighting style depends on spirit beasts, but ever since their master dipped, all the high-level spirit beasts just shut down. This competition is their only shot to flex some reputation and get noticed. They land smack dab in the middle of the arena. The martial sect master, looking like he just swallowed a lemon, eyes them with the fierce aura of a lion ready to pounce. He steps forward and tells them to bounce from the competition because their master asked him to keep an eye out. Baizi, always the skeptic, thinks this dude just wants to steal their spotlight and snatch up any potential disciples. The older man rubs his temple like he's dealing with a headache from 1,000 noobs, saying they're not even strong enough to be competition. But the dumb guy jumps in, hyping up their fighting spirit like it's the next big thing. They even drag Mowang into the spotlight as their secret weapon. The master warns them he won't be babysitting in the competition, but Mowang's got that confident vibe, telling him they're solid. The old man finally gets it. This kid doesn't care about the usual drama, and leaves them with a low-key threat to not die so easily. Mowang, never missing a beat, throws the shade right back, saying this time the beast sect is here to win. Mowang gives his box one last thorough check, making sure everything is on point, just as Baizi pops the question if he's ready. Without missing a beat, Mowang declares it's time to roll out, like a boss stepping onto the stage. Meanwhile, Bazishi kicks off the stream with maximum cuteness overload, urging everyone to smash that red heart button like it owes them money. In the competition arena, Mowang announces to his viewers that this is no ordinary battle. It's the world's first large-scale real-time broadcast. Talk about flexing innovation. His opponent, on the other hand, is visibly pissed at this attitude. Mowang notices this and heads straight to face off. The arbitrator steps in with the official rundown. One fighter repping the Chi sect, the other from the Beast sect. The rules? Simple but savage. Knockout or inability to fight means game over. No limits on magical tools or treasures, so expect the unexpected. If no winner emerges in an hour, it's a draw. Both contestants are hyped beyond belief. The drone's livestream buzzes with energy, and the Beast sect disciples are shouting their lungs out for Mowang like it's a concert. As the two greet each other, Mowang mentally breaks down his opponent's style. Chi sects are known tool users, always pulling rabbit out of the hat surprises, while the Beast sect prefers spirit beasts for the fight. Mowang casually summons his spirit frog, but the Chi sect guy looks unfazed. Clearly his cultivation level is on another tier. Suddenly the snake-like Chi sect warrior strikes first with a chaos thunder attack, engulfing Mowang in a storm that messes with his vision. Classic move, but Mowang's no rookie. He opens his trunk and throws out circular objects around him like he's planting party favors. But these are actually landmines. The Chi guy tries sneaking in for a surprise attack but promptly steps on a mine. Boom. A minor explosion leaves him dumbfounded, blinking like he just got hit with an unexpected plot twist. Moang, ever the gentleman, explains he just got attacked by a landmine. The key guy's confusion hits peak levels. How is a beast sect warrior using tools? Moang drops the truth bomb. You don't gotta stick to one trick. Versatility is key, baby. Refusing to be outdone, the key warrior dusts himself off and opts for a long-range attack. He pulls out a cannon shooting spiritual energy, trying to make a flashy comeback. But before he can even fire, Moang's AK-17, yes, a gun he actually built himself, destroys the cannon like it's yesterday's news. The key guy loses his mind, probably questioning his life choices, and if he accidentally wandered into a sci-fi movie. Moang, cool as ice, warns him to watch out as he casually puts a finger on the trigger. But the key warrior, clearly not about that life, throws in the towel before Moang even pulls the trigger. The arbitrator officially declares Moang the winner, and the Beast Sect fans explode into cheers like their team just won the championship. Meanwhile, the masters are side-eyeing the whole situation, calling the Beast Sect's use of tools a dirty trick that won't last long. Classic haters hating on innovation. Moang swaps out with his senior brother since it's finally his turn to step into the arena, because apparently even in battle you gotta know when to pass the mic. He then opens the live stream to check the hype and sees they've already blasted past 3 million views, but guess what? The chat's still full of skeptics, acting like it's some fake flex. So Moang goes full influencer mode, trying to convince everyone it's real-time, interactive, no cap. Meanwhile, the senior brother faces off against his opponent like they're old frenemies at a reunion. The other guy is flexing hard, showing off his leveled-up cultivation, and even throws shade that the senior brother would still be stuck in the Beast Sect if he hadn't bounced. Moang's spidey senses tingle. Something's definitely sus here. Baizi spills the tea. The opponent is Maki, the last dude their master picked before ghosting. Maki dipped to Wu Sect after the master vanished and apparently started bossing up there. Moang's unsure if straight up disloyal, but one thing's clear, he's not someone to mess with. Maki even tells the senior brother to chill because he doesn't want to disrespect their brotherhood by beating him. But oh no, our stubborn senior brother isn't about to fold like cheap origami. Once the fight kicks off, both of them get into their battle stances like it's a dance-off. Mach wastes no time, slamming the ground with a Wu Sect fire fist so hard the earth cracks, but senior brother dodges smoother than a cat, avoiding bath time. Ma brags about having more power despite being on the same cultivation level, but senior brother just hits back with a silent flex, casting a spell and hiding it underground, playing it cool like a boss. Mob steps up, all fired up, literally throwing shade at the Beast Sect like it's open mic night. But then senior brother calls out to Qing Xuan, and out pops a blue snake that coils around Ma like a pro wrestler's finishing move. The snake's got the fire on lock, freezing Mao's arm, leaving him shook. Who knew the Beast Sect had some tricks up their sleeve? Baizi drops the update that this is the Qing Xuan spirit snake, and the crowd's jaws basically hit the floor. Even the fairies side-eyeing, suspecting it might be because of the new disciple shaking things up. In the arena, senior brother's spirit snake has Mao firmly in its grip. He's basically saying, I don't care who you are, I'm here to show what Beast Sect really means. Ma still thinks the sect's a joke with only 3 disciples, but senior brother schools him with the lowdown. Their master told them to keep it on the DL after he vanished. No backup, no hype. But now they gotta put the Beast Sect on the map and fight back hard. Summoning a fire snake in the other hand, he merges both spirit snake's powers, leveling up like it's a cheat code, making him stronger than Ma. With a flashy spell and a combined snake attack, he leaves Ma dumbfounded and on the defensive. The other masters start to notice, nodding like, okay, the Beast Sect's finally not a joke. Meanwhile, Moang is practically losing his mind, realizing his so-called dumb senior brother was secretly packing serious heat the whole time. Moang's friends hit him up with the news about the cash he's been raking in from his live streams, and they've already sent the whole stack to his mom and dad. Moang's super grateful, like seriously, he's bowing in his heart, but he can't help but point out with a bit of irony that none of this money would have even crossed his screen if that whole transmigration drama hadn't gone down. Talk about a weird twist of fate. He's basically cashing in on a cosmic glitch. Meanwhile, up in a swanky skyrise tower, a woman is straight up losing her cool because her team can't track down Moang. The tech wizards couldn't even figure out what kind of wizardry he's using on his live streams, but they did manage to sniff out some clues about the masterminds behind the scenes. The boss lady is all, go chase these guys down ASAP, because this tech is next level, like lightning bolts that actually zing, special effects that could fool a Hollywood director, fabric textures so real you'd want to touch them, and flying sword paths smoother than your favorite influencer's transitions. They've got to snag these geniuses before anyone else catches on, or it's game over for everyone else. In the competition arena, the fairy plays the role of hype announcer, letting everyone know that day 1 of the competition is officially wrapped up. The stakes are high, winners move forward, and the ultimate champion scores a golden ticket straight to the well for cultivation. No pressure or anything. Back with the Beast Sect disciples, the mood shifts to strategizing for the next round. Moang's up against the Wu Sect, but his senior brother drops the harsh truth bomb. These Wu disciples are no joke, and Moang's rifle won't do squat unless he aims for their eyeballs. Instant hope deflation. Just as Moang's dreams of breezing into the immortal spring start to fade, Baizi throws out a wild card, a dangerous but potentially game-changing tactic to beat the Wu sect. She explains that the beast sect disciples can buff up by bonding with spirit beasts. Most of their spirit beasts are lazy pets, but there's this secret beast spirit illusion realm, packed with ancient savage beasts. If they can make a pact with one of those bad boys, they could take on opponents way beyond their league. Moang's practically bouncing off the walls with excitement, but Baizi quickly reminds him it's not a solo trip. You need a big, strong protector, or it's basically a one-way ticket to the afterlife. Even the senior brother backs this up, calling it a death sentence to go in alone. Moang's brain immediately jumps to the fairy. Does she have the muscle to guard them? And is she dealing with drama in the sect? Baizi spills the tea. The big shots are all going through tribulations. No sect leaders have her back, so she's kinda riding solo. But yep, she's strong enough to protect them. Without missing a beat, Moang drags his senior brother along, determined to find the fairy ASAP. When they show up at the fairy's place, she's already on alert, wondering why these two are crashing her late-night chill session. Moang hands his spare phone to his senior brother and boldly strolls inside solo. Fairy calls him out for barging in, but Moang just shrugs off the shade and steps up like he owns the place. She immediately conjures a spiritual ball, ready to throw down, but Moang drops a bombshell. He's got a plan to help her take control of the sect leader and fix her problems. The fairy perks up instantly. Now that's how you get attention. Outside, the senior brother is over there casually reading a novel when the door swings open and the duo steps out. Moang confidently announces that the fairy is officially their bodyguard now, which means it's game on. They can finally make their move to the beast spirit illusion realm. This is about to get lit. The gang can hardly believe their eyes as they stand right at the threshold of the illusion realm. A place so wild it even hosts beasts teetering on the edge of ascension. But this isn't some walk in the park. The beast sect is divided into 10 zones, each one more treacherous than the last, like levels in a game designed by a sadistic developer. Baizi checks in, asking if Moang has already picked his spirit beast, but instead of a simple answer, Moang launches into a detailed spiel about the kind of beast he's after. Baizi raises an eyebrow and points out that the monkey Moang wants is notoriously difficult to train. That's probably why it's still stuck in the illusion realm. But Moang's got that unshakable confidence, like a kid who's convinced he can tame a wild dragon just by whispering sweet nothings. The fairy steps up with a serious vibe, warning everyone to stay sharp because she's about to break the seal. Her magic disrupts the ancient seals and incinerates a paperman, because why not add a bit of fiery drama? As the gates to the illusion realm swing open, she commands the crew to dive in without hesitation, like it's a Black Friday sale, and these beasts are the clearance items. Meanwhile, on the other side, the salty Mubai picks up the paperman's signal and realizes the gates are wide open now. Inside the illusion realm, a cute little beast is happily munching on its snack when a sneaky snake tries to ambush it from behind. But plot twist, the cute beast has a secret weapon. It opens its mouth from the rear and instantly chops off the snake's head. Talk about a nasty surprise. The moment it senses humans, it bolts like it just saw the worst cosplay ever. Moang immediately notices the thick, heavy energy in the air, and the fairy explains that it's because the branch of the immortal spring, basically the beast buffet, is right here, feeding these spirit creatures. Moang wonders why they can't just train here, but Baizi drops the wisdom. They're all about quality over quantity. Meanwhile, she totally forgets they're supposed to be streaming, and Moang calls her out for acting all high and mighty. As they set up a drone, the fairy looks at it suspiciously, since it has no energy flow whatsoever. Moang switches into full-on tech bro mode, buddying up and explaining how his drone works like some sci-fi gadget. Behind them, the senior brother uses his vast novel knowledge to diagnose Moang's feelings for the fairy, labeling him the classic licking dog type, the dude who's always chasing but never winning. Baizi, ever the strategist, suggests Moang should just scare the fairy a bit and blackmail her into giving him a chance. The senior brother can't help but think Baizi's ideas are on another level of weird. Moang scans the entire G area, mapping out the cultivation hotspots. He crunches the numbers and figures out that power in the light realm ranges from half a ton to a full ton, with strength and healing getting major boosts. With this intel, they can figure out what kind of materials are best for trapping these tricky beasts. The fairy is impressed but asks if Moang plans to make weapons or tools to deal with the beasts. Ever the showman, Moang boasts that he's still in the data collection phase, a classic research never ends excuse. The four of them start moving deeper into the realm, on the hunt for their beasts, completely unaware they've got unwanted company. Mugai is fuming because the illusion realm got open for this newbie, but never for him, with the lame excuse that the master was away. He's got his crew with him, and they've already been schooled in the secret beast taming technique. His plan is to snatch some spirit beasts and bounce before anyone notices. As they venture deeper, Moang gets puzzled because the manual clearly states this area should be teeming with monsters, yet his drone can't spot a single big demon lurking around. Baizi, on the other hand, had never really paid attention before since she was always with her master, who explicitly told her to stay away unless she reached Golden Core cultivation level. Even the fairy is out of the loop about the last generation because her master decided that seclusion is the new black. Plus, once their masters hit Ascension, they either ghosted into seclusion or straight up vanished like your Wi-Fi signal when you really need it. The senior brother drops some wisdom, saying sure, tons of people might have hit Ascension, but true ascendants are rarer than decent Wi-Fi in a basement, because that step is basically the gateway to eternal life, no big deal. While chatting about this existential stuff, they reach the next area. Mo Wang, playing it safe, decides to send his drone in first to scout ahead. But surprise, surprise, the drone's feed cuts off right on the other side, as if someone just pulled the plug on its signals. Blizeny and the senior brother quickly throw up a protective barrier in front of Mo Wang, like parents shielding their kid from a bad horror movie, while the fairy summons her signature lotus flower to lead the way into the unknown. No shocker here. The moment they step through, a giant beast rolls up to greet them like an uninvited party crasher. Fairy tries to fend it off with some magic, but the beast actually shatters her barrier like it's made of glass and not magical energy. The group scrambles to avoid the chaos, watching the beast freak them out because this rainbow tiger is about as out of place here as a cat at a dog show. Apparently this flashy feline has been going on a rampage, wrecking other beasts and turning the whole area upside down. Meanwhile, senior brother's senses pick up a flood dragon nearby, which is bad news because this particular dragon isn't supposed to be chilling in the G area either, where Moof and his guys are in trouble. Now the gang's got the rainbow tiger in front of them and the barrier they just came in from is closed. Moofin pulls out his phone to Google some info on the beast, because who doesn't rely on Google in a crisis? While the fairy summons an ice lotus that freezes the giant tiger with a single strike. They hop on the lotus again since the ice won't hold the tiger forever. Finally, Moofin discovers that this tiger demon has a soft spot for animals and celestial plants, so he digs through his trunk like someone rummaging for snacks and pulls out this ugly green ball that looks like a rejected alien pet toy. He tosses it toward the tiger, which breaks free from the ice but instantly gets distracted by the floating plant. The tiger starts chasing it like a cat after a laser pointer, and Moofin acts like he totally planned that all along, as if he's some kind of beast whisperer extraordinaire. Pressing on, the group encounters another barrier, which is super weird because barriers like this aren't supposed to be popping up like random ads on a website. They pass over the fallen beasts and finally reach a waterfall, where someone has been waiting for them. Could it be about the second time traveler? Now that's a plot twist worthy of a season finale cliffhanger. If you got superpowers, what would you do with them? According to Ikan Roden, he'd make sure the whole world's cool. Basically, he'd be the exclusive VIP of superpowers, like the universe's ultimate flex. With this boss-level mindset, he casually snags the dude who's been creeping on their livestream account, telling him he wants to have a chat with his boss. Meanwhile, Moang and the gang track down the dragon, who casually drops a bomb about a second time traveler. The fairy pipes up, pointing out that this dragon is just a hair's breadth away from ascension, and has an awake mind, basically making him a demon cultivator with all the edgy vibes. The dragon, playing it cool, tells everyone to come closer with a promise he won't hurt them. Naturally, everyone's side-eyeing hard, so the dragon yanks them in with some serious force. He flexes his introduction as zipping and hands over a treasure box to Moang like it's some kind of legendary loot drop. Inside, Moang finds a pager. Yeah, a pager, because why not add some retro flair? And wonders if someone else has crossed over before him. The dragon spills the tea. About 40 years ago, another traveler from the other world showed up, and what he's about to reveal will flip their whole existence upside down like a bad TikTok trend. Fairy's lost in translation, but the dragon tells them to zip it and wait till the story's done. Turns out the last crossover dude was Weijun, who Fairy totally remembers as the sex prodigy, hitting golden core in just 10 years. Basically the original overachiever. 13 years back, June helped hunt down the demon dragon but got wiped out in the process. After that epic fail, all the big shot Ascension experts pulled a classic ghost move and went into hiding. The dragon drops the real kicker. These events are all connected, and after that battle, everyone realized Ascension was a total scam. Cue the collective jaw drop among the humans, with even Fairy questioning how the path to eternal life in the other world could possibly be a con. The dragon explains that the scam got exposed because something wild happened in that battle. A Taoist was supposed to ascend after surviving a thunder tribulation, but June swooped in, absorbed some thunder energy, and literally opened a gap in the clouds. Suddenly, the Ascension big shots got treated like bugs, crushed like mosquitoes at a summer BBQ. The survivors witnessed this brutal scene, shattering their illusions. Fairy, ever the skeptic, asks the million-dollar question: what's the point of cultivation if reaching the top just ends like this? The dragon, unfazed, says he's been chilling here, waiting for the next time traveler, because these mortals don't get it. They're stuck grinding through levels like noobs, but time travelers? They're playing the game on easy mode. No shackles, no slow climb. Then the dragon blasts Moang with some serious energy, making him feel like he just unlocked a cheat code that lets him jump 3 realms in one shot. The dragon laughs, straight up calling it Moang's cheat code unlocked moment. Like the final boss just handed him the ultimate power-up. In the modern world, Asura takes care of the mob like it's just another casual Tuesday, until the boss finally decides to show herself. Asura, cool as ever, casually drops that he's here to deal with her. Then he immediately senses she's trying to slyly hide her phone behind her back as if anyone can pull a fast one on him. Moving at the speed of light, he snatches the phone before she even blinks, flexing those reflexes like a ninja on espresso. With zero effort, he crushes the device in his bare hands, sending a clear message to this boss lady. Don't get so reckless unless you want your tech to meet an early grave. He's not here for chit-chat but to talk about the Earth people who crossed over, throwing down the serious vibes like a boss. Mo gets hit with a surprise bombshell. Turns out, if there's enough spiritual energy, cultivators can keep leveling up forever. Fairy, ever the skeptic, suggests spreading the word that Ascension is basically a scam to save others from the hype train, but the dragon's having none of it and calls her out for tripping hard on conspiracy theories. He explains that even before this whole crossover chaos, tons of cultivators already knew the truth, but kept quiet because the fallout would be a hot mess, powerful beings losing their purpose and letting loose. Even their senior brother is in the loop about the demon sect rebellion, which all started because power went totally off the rails without control. The dragon spills that June and the crew figured it out too, and left all the secrets in this place, predicting exactly this gang's arrival, like mystical psychics on steroids. Baizi chimes in, pointing out that only folks from the TNG sect can actually calculate fate and future stuff. The dragon reveals the man couldn't predict outsiders, but did say two people would get tangled up with those messing with Ascension. Senior brother suddenly perks up, clearly curious about his own fate, but the dragon got warned in the prediction, telling him to steer clear of the dumb guy tagging along with the gang. Ouch, that's gotta sting. Moang and Baizi watch this drama unfold, noting that the prediction was pretty spot on. When the dragon asks for a break so he can keep his cultivation under the Ascension radar, he throws a pouch into the sky, outpour a bunch of beasts from a void bag like it's some kind of mystical pet store opening. Moang immediately wonders if the dragon caught them, but the dragon acts all offended by the question. His old colleagues volunteered for this fate once they realized that Ascension equals death. They hid here to dodge Ascension, but their cultivation kept spiking anyway. These guys made a hardcore choice. They asked the dragon to collect their bodies instead of becoming pets trapped in cages. Instead, they turned themselves into artifacts for weaker spiritual beasts, sacrificing their own lives to make sure no demon could ascend after learning the truth. It was the ultimate act of rebellion against those above the Thunder Tribulation. These beasts literally cut off their own paths just to give the future a little hope. With a somber farewell, the dragon says goodbye to his friends who are now gone for good, leaving a serious vibe hanging in the air. Unshrine is just your average guy, living the regular life while his friend Mo Wang crossed over to another world ages ago. At first, Unshrine doesn't buy into any of Mo Wang's time-traveling tales because seriously, who even believes that stuff anymore? It sounds like the kind of wild fantasy you'd scroll past on your feed without a second thought. But despite all the skepticism, Ezwan can't shake the idea from his head. Even while getting scolded at work for some unreasonable client demands and collapsing tiredly onto his bed, his mind keeps wandering back to the crossover stories. Eventually, the idea creeps in enough to make him believe, and he starts guiding Moang like a reluctant mentor. The whole situation is kind of hilarious because it's obvious Moang is the big-shot main character in that other world, while Ezwan is stuck grinding away on this side, drowning in endless pointless revisions. He even gets work messages pinging during his off hours, but he just straight up ignores them, wishing he could be the one hopping through time instead of stuck in his cubicle. Just when Ezwan is daydreaming about cultivating powers and leveling up like his friend, Mo Wang drops some cultivation manuals on him. Curious and slightly desperate, Ezwan tries cultivating on Earth and shocker, it actually works, but he quickly learns it's not something you can rush, so he tells his friends he can't really cultivate yet, playing it safe. Still, he throws out the offer to build a database and asks for more books on cultivation. Slowly but surely, Asura feels like his life has shifted on a different axis. Time seems to drag on differently for him now. Earth's spiritual energy is weak, like practically non-existent in some spots, but he hunts down places where there's just a bit more juice to tap into. His friends don't seem to get the same boost, so Asura starts wondering if he's some kind of rare exception. One day at the gym, he realizes his strength and mental focus have skyrocketed thanks to cultivation. Just as he's flexing this new power, two guys stroll up, acting all cocky and telling him to move away from the equipment because in their eyes, he couldn't possibly lift those weights. One of them even throws out a ridiculous challenge, promising to eat a barbell if Ezwan manages to lift it. But Ezwan decides to man up, channels all his newfound strength, while the others snicker like it's some kind of joke. Then, with zero effort, he lifts the weights like they're made of feathers, leaving everyone's jaws on the floor. The challengers keep piling on more weight, but Aksuan keeps crushing it without even breaking a sweat. For the first time, Aksuan actually feels like the main character in his own story. The guy who insulted him earlier ends up having to shove a barbell down his throat, acknowledging that Aksuan is now the undisputed top dog in the gym. Our senior brother is clearly not built for handling a tsunami of info all at once. The whole deal about crossing over, Ascension being some cosmic joke, and Mo Wang being the golden ticket to their world. It just sets off his internal something's fishy alarm, so naturally he decides to put on his thinking cap and flex those brain muscles. After what can only be described as a legendary big brain moment, he lands on the theory that Mo Wang is basically the main character of this entire saga, destined to be set for life just by sticking close to him. Not wasting a second, he dashes over to Mo Wang, dropping the ultimate bro move by calling him Big Brother. The dragon gives the boy a stare that could probably stop traffic, but Mo Wang steps in like a pro, assuring everyone that senior brother's just a walking headache on the surface. Then the dragon shoves some top-tier materials at Mo Wang, convincing him he's basically invincible now. But hold up, the dragon throws in a reality check, warning that tougher enemies are lurking, and Mo Wang's still missing the one ingredient June had, that savage hunger for victory. To turn up the heat, the dragon offers up June's cultivation techniques and his personal notes from the crossover days, hyping the moment like it's the season finale. Meanwhile, Mo Wang's excitement level is stuck somewhere between a sleepy old man and a cat, ignoring a laser pointer, still skeptical if those notes really pack a punch to boost his belief. Next up, the dragon digs out the last relics June left behind. First on the menu, the cultivation technique. Wei Jun, the transmigrator, was basically a mad scientist who busted his butt figuring out how to jump worlds. After some crazy accident and vanishing with a thunder tribulation, he left behind a treasure trove of techniques that start rewiring Mo Wang's brain. The payoff? Tian Gong, a technique so tough it basically makes the body a walking fortress immune to almost everything. Beji instantly recognizes this as their sect leader's signature move, designed only for kids no less. This technique is like the sect's secret handshake everyone's supposed to master. Mo Wang glances over at the fairy and immediately realizes a major downside. To survive with this technique, he's got to keep his yang energy strong. Translation: no chill time with the yin side, aka the ladies. Suddenly crossing over loses all its charm since he can't even be near his beloved fairy. It's like his world just got hit with a plot twist straight out of a soap opera, and he's feeling the existential dread hard. But the dragon, ever the MVP, hands him the notes to clear up the confusion. Fueled by newfound hope, Mo Wang dives into June's past. Turns out June was just a regular guy working in a steel factory, until fate played its wild card and he fell into an immortal spring. Bam! Spiritual energy floods in like a cheat code activated. Soon after, the sect master scoops him up as a gatekeeper disciple. Life's looking good. He marries the sect master's daughter, snagging wealth, fame, and status like it's no big deal. But plot twist, one lonely night June gets hit with a cosmic crisis. Feeling this endless void and pondering the universe's end and the origins of life, he figures out the hard way that the stuff that's too easy to get just leads to endless pain. So he vows that if he ever crosses paths with the next crossover, he's gonna leash them down and push humanity forward. Reading all this, Mo Wang can't hold back the tears because while June was out there living the dream, he's stuck grinding some kid's technique. Mo Wang powers up with an intense aura swirling around him like he's about to drop the hottest mixtape of the century. But plot twist, he's actually bawling his eyes out, full-on melodrama mode activated, wishing he could swap lives with June like some tragic fanfiction character. Everyone else is standing there with their jaws on the floor, probably wondering if they accidentally tuned into a soap opera instead of a battle manga. Then zeroing in like a hawk on the dragon, Mo Wang demands the beast to shatter this maddening technique. The dragon tries to explain there's an escape route. Enter the fairy, dropping lore like a TikTok history teacher, revealing the legend that Ascension can break the restriction. But hold up, they just found out Ascension is a total scam. It's basically a one-way ticket to the afterlife party, and not ascending is just as good as signing your own death certificate. The dragon tries to hype it up, assuring Mo Wang that this technique will make him stronger, and that there's always the cheat code of crossing back to his own world to dodge Ascension. Realizing time's ticking faster than a viral meme, Mo Wang figures they gotta bounce from this place ASAP. But of course Bai Zi and the senior brother can't resist roasting him for being unable to watch AVs again. Mo Wang claps back hard, banning them from their guilty pleasures too, because revenge is a dish best served cold. Back on track, Mo Wang reminds everyone that they've been camping here all night, and that the sect's second election is about to kick off. He tells the dragon to pull a quick disguise if he wants to sneak in. Poof, the dragon magically turns into a believable human, like some cosplay pro. Mo Wang strides ahead toward the competition with all the swagger of a rock star, while the fairy starts getting suspicious about his technique, sniffing out something fishy like a detective on a Netflix crime show. As they rush through the illusion realm, they stumble upon Fallen Moon and his crew. The dragon notices them first, making the rest realize that Mu and others tried sneaking in for a quick win. However, the dragon does not care, and lets these guys out as well. At the competition venue, everyone's waiting around like laundry left in the washer too long, awkward and smelling of impatience. The K-sect disciple Shang He has been clock watching for Mo Wang for half an hour, so the rumor mill starts churning that Mo Wang might just forfeit. Just when the Whisper Network hits peak gossip, an elder suddenly senses something big approaching. Boom. Mo Wang crashes in with all the glare and flair of a celebrity making a grand entrance, like he just dropped the hottest album of the year. He lands smack dab in the middle of the arena and announces himself like a boss. The fairy strolls in fashionably late, casually explaining she had some work to do, but no one's really paying attention because all eyes are glued to Mo Wang's aura like they're watching the latest viral sensation unfold live. Mi Wang steps up to face his competitor, but even the arbitrator handling the event looks like he's about to file a complaint just announcing the second round of the sect selection. The match is set between the disciple from the Shang sect and Mi Wang, the disciple of the Beast sect. As the battle officially kicks off, Shang throws out a shady question about Mi Wang using an innate child technique, despite being from the Beast sect. Mo Wang immediately drops the ultimate clapback. Anyone asking that question is basically signing their own death warrant. Shang's ego takes a hit, and he retaliates by flinging his abacus like it's some next-level weapon. Mo Wang senses the individual beats floating menacingly around him, but his barrier is flexing hard, not letting any of those attacks get close. It's like trying to slide into DMs, but the person's got their privacy settings on max. The sect elders notice that Mo Wang is pulling out a wild mix of techniques, reminding them of Wei Jun, the legendary genius who only shows up once a generation. But Mo Wang's not here to drop a TED talk on his skills. He just wants to end this fight fast, thinking he's leveled up enough to make it look easy. So he unleashes the first stage of divine powers, but Shang, fresh at the fourth stage of divine powers, just stands there confused. Mo Wang's jaw drops. He had no clue disciples with a decade of training could be this savage. Shang, expecting some fireworks from Mo Wang, but instead seeing a rookie move, goes all out with a full power attack. Mo Wang screams internally at his own overconfidence, clutching his head like he just got hit by the reality check express. Even he's stunned that his barrier is still holding up strong. The dragon can't wrap his head around Mo Wang's panic, reminding everyone that the innate child technique is basically the ultimate defense flex in the world. The other masters eye the dragon warily but decide to save that drama for later. In the arena, Shang keeps throwing down relentless attacks, but Mo Wang dodges like a pro gamer on a highlight reel. Suddenly, the next move drops, a giant disc appears in the sky, and it's packing power that's clearly beyond the divine power realm. The senior brother explains that this technique can absorb other spiritual energy to get even stronger. Bai Zi wonders if Mo Wang can even handle this, but the dragon stays chill, basically saying, "He's got this, no sweat." The giant bead starts plummeting toward Mo Wang, who braces himself with his arms like it's a surprise final boss attack. But Shang's not done. His giant bead is hungrily absorbing spiritual energy, growing like a power-hungry influencer soaking up clout. Shang explains that the more spiritual energy he has, the more he can siphon off others, basically trying to starve Mo Wang into surrender. But Mo Wang's just found his footing in this crazy world. He's not about to fold. Trapped inside the child technique's grip, he's ready to fight everyone, and prove that he's no joke. So in a power move that screams "Don't mess with me," he grabs the giant bead and lets it soak up as much energy as it wants. Chaos ensues as Shang panics. His energy-hoarding bead is full to the brim, but Mo Wang still has leftover juice to burn. The bead shatters because no giant energy-absorbing orb can stand up to a homebody's determination to break the child technique. The boss lady is clearly sizing up Aishan with a mix of suspicion and curiosity, but he cuts through the tension by saying he just needs a few people to handle some work. Still, the boss lady isn't buying it for free. She reminds him that business is all about give and take. Yet in a slick twist, she offers to slip him some cash and turn a blind eye to the police if he simply walks away. She's already pulling out a check, ready to make it rain, but Aishosin isn't having it. He slams his hand on the table like he's dropping the hottest beat in a rap battle. Suddenly the scene looks like it jumped straight out of a romance manga. All dramatic and intense, but Aisho stays ice cold, reminding her they already have tech, wealth, and social clout. What they really want? Life itself. To prove his point, he drops a video of a child being miraculously saved, daring her to call the hospital and fact-check the miracle. He's basically handing her the ultimate life hack in exchange for her company. Back in the cultivation realm, Bai Zi's streaming live with a giant dog because of course, you gotta flex that pet glow up on the gram. But as soon as a crowd approaches, she cuts the stream like a pro influencer dodging drama and shifts gears to action mode with senior brother. They whip out their weapons like they're about to drop the hottest collab battle, because the crowd of women is here for none other than Mo Wang. Senior brother throws down the law. If you want to see Mo Wang, you gotta get past him first. The ladies aren't having it. They slap him aside and even trample poor Bai Zi like she's just a speed bump on their Mo Wang mission. Senior brother cries out, claiming they did their best. Meanwhile, Mo Wang is chilling in a cottage, trying to stab himself like he's auditioning for a dramatic scene in a soap opera. But the halo around him is basically a divine no-entry sign, making his self-sabotage attempts utterly useless. Feeling defeated, he turns to the fairy, begging her to be his Tao companion like it's the ultimate BFF request. Even the dragon is on board with this plan because outside the cottage, there's basically a fangirl convention happening for Mo Wang. Honestly, Mo Wang never expected this level of hype from his innate child technique. It's like going viral for doing absolutely nothing. After Mo Wang's big win in the competition, every sect master agrees he's a genius on the same level as Wei Jun. When a prodigy like him pops up and practices the purest form of the innate child technique, all the sects send their female disciples on a full-on mission to snag him as a Tao companion. These ladies pull out every seduction play in the book, turning into what can only be described as pursuing hyenas on a quest. Mo Wang's got all this attention because he's not just smart, he's rocking the most coveted technique in the game. The hype is real. The dragon even confirms Mo Wang is the most popular Dao companion candidate around. But the guy himself, he's humble AF, begging the fairy to be his Dao companion instead of chasing the crowd. Finally, the fairy relents, giving him the green light to announce their Dao partners. It's like the ultimate ship moment. In the modern world, Oling and Ah Yao meet up with Ashen on the weekend. Ah Yao, always the homebody, wonders why they even bothered leaving the comfort of their couches, like, couldn't they just binge-watch another series instead? But Ah Yao, the ultimate hype friend, hits back hard, reminding her that sometimes you gotta get off your lazy butt and actually enjoy some real-life human interaction. They then dive into the juicy gossip about Azian quitting his old job because who needs that 9-to-5 grind anyway? Now he's flexing at Gulmeng Corporation, the big deal influencer and streaming company, which sends Yao into full fangirl mode, totally vibing on the clout and online fame. Meanwhile, Yao's low-key confused, noticing his friends don't have even a whiff of spiritual energy. Like, is he the last cultivator left in this world? Talk about being the ultimate lone wolf. He tries to keep it on the down low but can't help but wonder what that even means in this chaotic modern mess. At the foot of the mountain, an old man is trekking with a kid, heading to some big competition. The kid's got major self-doubt. He's convinced he can't beat the disciples of a sect, but still wants to borrow his master's gourd for the fight. The old man isn't having it though, scolding the kid for being too greedy, reminding him he'll get his own gourd once he levels up. The kid, frustrated AF, thinks maybe he needs a new master because after 2 centuries of cultivation, he's still stuck at divine ability. Suddenly, chaos hits as a carriage comes barreling down the road like it owns the place. The kid tries to shoo away the donkey, but the old man just flicks his finger, effortlessly sending the carriage veering off. The carriage crashes, and out storms an angry dude from the Kanglong sect, one of the 7 great sects, mad that anyone would dare block their precious ride. The kid immediately bursts into tears. Big mood when you're face to face with the elite squad. The Kanglong guy is fuming and ready to throw hands, but the old man claps back with some savage comebacks that only make the guy even more heated. Just when it looks like a fight's about to break out, the old man pulls the ultimate move. He jumps away dramatically, but then immediately cries like a baby, claiming the Kanglong carriage ran into him first, and now this guy's trying to beat him up for no reason. The crowd's eating up the drama, totally siding with the old man's Oscar-worthy performance. The Kanglong dude tries to call the bluff, but the old man cranks the theatrics up to 11. Then out of nowhere, someone from inside the carriage tells the flustered disciple to handle the mess, so the dude just hands over some shiny expensive elixir to the old man like a peace offering. Crisis averted. The kid is totally shook by the resources the great sects have on tap. Talk about flexing with style. As if that wasn't enough, the kid spots a lotus flower flying by, and his jaw drops even further at the Yonling sect's next level flying skills. The 7 great sects are all rolling in for the big event, throwing down like it's the ultimate showdown. The burning question now is, who's going to be the real MVP? The one who shakes up the 3 realms and leaves everyone shook for ages. Stay tuned, because this event is about to be straight fire. The boss lady finally meets the kid in the hospital, where he casually drops the bomb that it was some random man who helped cure him. This revelation makes her eyebrow game reach a whole new level. Suddenly, the supernatural isn't just ghost stories or late-night horror flicks anymore. She promptly orders her underling to agree to Azwan's terms for now. Meanwhile, our boy Azwan is out there trekking the mountains like a nature influencer, eventually landing at this temple that looks more deserted than a Wi-Fi signal in the middle of nowhere. The only occupant is an old man who's just chilling and napping like he's got no worries in the world. Azwan scans the place but finds 0 spiritual energy, basically a ghost town vibe. Suddenly, the old man perks up and calls him a friend with all the enthusiasm of someone who's just found free food. Azwan's intrigued, wondering if this dude is some secret cultivator or just an over-enthusiastic grandpa. The old man starts blabbering about luck and fate like he's reading from a fortune cookie manual. The old man then gets cozy, plopping a Wen down and spinning a tale about a great fortune heading his way, making a Wen think maybe this temple hermit isn't just some scam artist. The guy reads a Wen's palm and warns about a looming calamity that could spark fights between brothers and friends. Pretty dramatic stuff, like a soap opera with swords. Ashuin notices the old man's spiritual energy meter is still stuck at 0, and asks if there's a legit way to dodge this disaster. The priest confidently suggests the classic make an offering of incense move to the temple, which is basically the ancient world's version of send me money and your problems will vanish. Ashuin's inner skeptic hits full throttle, instantly spotting the old man as a straight-up swindler. Without wasting a second, he stands up and bounces. Just as he's about to leave, a kid walks in, and the old man recycles the exact same spiel like a broken record. Asujin realizes he might have been overthinking things, and decides to head out. As he moves on, he suddenly senses a spike in spiritual energy, like someone just cranked the volume up on the universe's hype playlist. Using his super speed, because why walk when you can zoom? Asujin leaps up the mountain following the energy trail until he zeroes in on some unusually thick roots that are basically nature's version of a secret password. These roots hide a cave entrance where a spiritual gateway is literally opening up for business. He dives into the cave, cultivating the energy like a pro, but something's off. There's not a single living thing around, giving off major abandoned haunted house vibes. Inside, Axwan finds tablets warning immortals not to open the gate or pass through, like the ultimate do not enter sign. But since he's no ordinary mortal, he tries to open the door, only to find it stubbornly refuses to budge like a locked iPhone without Face ID. After roaming through countless famous mountains and rivers these past days, Axwan has come to a solid conclusion. He's the last cultivator left in this world, and trust me, he's ready to make sure it stays that way. Moang casually asks Adron to crack a cultivation array, comparing it to electronic circuit diagrams. He's totally chill with waiting forever, but naturally he keeps mum about the real reason. After all, no one needs to know he's been practicing celibacy techniques. As night creeps in, the senior brother multitasks like a pro, scrolling through novels on his phone while throwing punches at Moang with the other hand. When the annoyance hits peak levels, he casually fires off a blast using just the tip of his finger, smugly announcing he's been suppressing his cultivation level just to keep it fair. Moang's left scratching his head, wondering how he managed to get schooled again. The senior brother breaks it down. They're basically playing in different leagues when it comes to controlling spiritual energy. Then, spotting the flying lotus, he snaps out his name for the first time, Jiping. No more nameless senior brother. Moang, wiped out from training, watches the lotus land gently in the cave, just as Fairy descends with some tools for his fight. He thanks his Dao companion so sincerely that she instantly turns beet red. The poor fairy gets so flustered she tries to make a quick exit, but Moang's not having it. He grabs her hand and pleads for a little company. Smooth move, Moang, smooth move. Under the vast night sky, Fairy drops some honesty bombs, confessing she just doesn't get him. Moang, no stranger to self-reflection, admits he's basically floating through life without a purpose. Back in elementary school, when asked to draw his future, he sketched a rocket. Big dreams, right? But now, he's wondering if anyone really knows what they want to be in the future. He can't see his future. He feels like he never had a big ambition or strong desires. As long as he gets by, he is fine. Every day he just repeats the same routine, and living like a zombie is fine with him. He does not want to live, but he is too scared to die. And then he crossed over into this world. But even now, he is still wondering about his purpose. He turns to Fairy for answers, but she's got her own story. She's his fake Dao partner because she met Wei Jun. She saw him runs every day, not because he has to, but because he loves it. When asked why, Jun says it's not about reaching some grand goal. Immortality is just a tool to keep making choices and enjoying the moment. Fairy drops some advice. The path and choices are all on Moang. She admits she didn't like him at first. Too flippant, too carefree. But he's grown just a bit. She hopes he wins the upcoming match and finds his own way. And Moang fires back with enthusiasm, telling her to do the same. Team figuring life out vibes. As Fairy rides off on her lotus, she can't help but wonder if she started seeing Moang differently, because deep down she's kind of like him. A fellow lost soul who hasn't quite found her direction yet. The Beast sect has officially transformed into a full-blown experiment lab, with Moang playing the role of the mad scientist, minus the freaky hair, but with all the chaotic energy. The dragon throws shade at Moang for goofing off instead of grinding on his cultivation, but Moang claps back, explaining that their so-called messing around is actually groundbreaking research. He unveils a talisman writer that cranks out low-level talismans like a factory on overdrive. While your average cultivator can barely sketch 5 or 6 talismans a day, and half of those are probably scrap, these machines pump out 40 daily, no breaks, no coffee runs. The dragon, now genuinely curious, wonders if the same tech can handle intermediate talismans, but Moang drops the reality check. Those need divine power plus spiritual energy, so they're still in the lab hustle phase. The dragon, ever the practical one, suggests mass-producing these talismans for ordinary folks to use, but Moang plays the mysterious card, hinting at bigger plans that leave the dragon blinking in surprise yet again. Then comes the grand reveal, the drone team. Moang showcases a demo, schooling everyone on how drones and talismans make a combo. He roped in the spiritual dog for some live action, who's just chillin', waiting for the drone to drop some talisman heat. One drone hovers, drops a talisman on the dog, while another sneaks up with explosive talisman bullets aimed straight at the puppy's back. When the blast hits, the dog's face is a mess, but Moang casually tosses it a bone like it just won a prize. Talk about tough love. The dragon points out the obvious: top-tier cultivators could still wipe the floor with these gadgets with a flick of their wrist. Moang flexes back, reminding them he built this whole setup in a few months and has even quantified the dragon's power level. A near-ascension great demon packs a punch of about 100 tons daily and can move close to the speed of sound. Sounds scary? Maybe, but in the modern world humans have gadgets with similar firepower. Moang's got the memo on networking power and is applying those hacks to cultivation, leveling up the game. Right now he's stuck with low-level talismans, but his vision is next level, cracking all the secrets of ascension like a boss. The dragon, genuinely impressed, admits Moang's a far cry from Wei Jun. Moang, kicking back with that smug vibe, reveals the innate child technique he uses is basically a fancy way to lock down true essence. So if he figures out another way to lock it, he could ditch the celibacy struggle without needing ascension. The dragon fires back with a witty jab, saying Moang and Jun are pretty much cut from the same cloth. Just then, Jiping strolls in, hauling all the gear Moang ordered, minerals, tools, and the pièce de résistance, uranium ore, catching everyone's eye like a rare Pokemon. Moang declares this stuff as the secret sauce for smashing through the ascension ceiling. Asura jumps in, dropping knowledge about high-tech weapons, casually mentioning all the info is just out there on the internet. Finding it is easy. Actually understanding and using it is the advanced math-level struggle. Asura can't help but feel personally roasted. Asura shows up at Asugin's place to return something, but he's nowhere to be found, totally ghosting her. Not one to be stopped, she knows where the key is hidden, and just invites herself in like she owns the place. Inside, she spots some scattered papers and can't resist sneaking a peek. These aren't just random notes, they contain detailed info about the remaining spiritual energy sites on Earth. She's baffled. Why is Asum collecting this info if they can't even cultivate here? Unless Asum can cultivate in this world. She uncovers a secret about her friend, unaware that he's watching her closely from outside the window like some stealthy ninja. Meanwhile, in the cultivation world, a massive crowd gathers at Mount Xianling sect. Among them are the old man and his disciple, both impressed by the grand scale of the event. The kid, curious, asks why so many people have come. The old man explains that Mount Xianling has produced a new genius, someone on the level of Wei Jun from before. Some people are here to compete for a chance to enter the immortal spring, while others come to crush the new genius. If they can shatter his Dao heart, they eliminate a future rival on their own cultivation path. The kid naively thinks everyone can cultivate peacefully, but the old man swiftly shuts down that idea. Cultivation resources are limited, and everyone wants to be the best of their generation. They finally reach the registration desk. The kid asks about the drone nearby, and the disciple happily explains that this drone automatically records and organizes data. The old man hands over his token, and the disciple tells both of them to input their basic info into the drone. The old man faces the drone and introduces himself as Fu Kang, while the kid's name is Qing Feng. After registration, the drone guides them to a flying vehicle that can take them to their accommodations for just 2 low-grade spirit stones. Qing Feng is excited to try it, and the old man pays the price. As the vehicle takes off, the old man is genuinely impressed that it actually flies. The vehicle lands in front of the inn, where their accommodations are digitally arranged. Kung Feng opens the door and is instantly amazed but also confused. The bed is weird and there's a strange closet filled with bottles of water that each cost 1 low-grade spirit stone per bottle. They get a personal room assistant who explains everything smoothly. Even the old man is impressed by the innovative stuff. There are so many novel things in the room, but everything costs spirit stones, turning their stay into a low-key wallet workout. Back at the accounting department, the master of the merchant sect says Mo Wang should be running the sect since they've made a fortune in just a few days. However, Mo Wang brags that this is only the start. Jiping begs him to at least publish a novel with the money, but Mo Wang tells him to wait a little. They could even buy the whole publishing house. 3 days remain until the official Mount Xianling sect competition, and the atmosphere at the Beast Pen is noticeably different. Mo Wang has set up a high-tech workspace with a large screen and robotic arms to assist him. He also has a team gathering minerals and metal ores, turning the area into a busy hub of activity. When Mo Wang thanks the supplier and asks about their progress, the man happily explains that the sect disciples are very interested in the materials provided. The situation takes a turn when the artifact sect master reveals she is an old acquaintance of Wei Jun. Mo Wang feels a bit uneasy knowing such an attractive sect leader has a past connection with Jun, but he decides to request some help anyway. The sect master initially thinks he is making an unreasonable demand, especially since Mo Wang practices celibacy. However, he clarifies that he only needs to borrow some disciples from her sect. Showing his designs to the artifact sect, Mo Wang impresses everyone there. They are passionate researchers after all. The sect master comments that both Mo Wang and Jun are special in their own ways, but Mo Wang prefers not to discuss Jun further. He hands over materials for the network and base stations, assigning the artifact sect to set up the infrastructure at various locations. With that, the Mount Xianling renovation plan officially begins. The artifact sect uses their expertise to establish a basic signal and local network throughout the mountain. Mamouching then gives the sect leader a phone, explaining that every disciple in the competition can use one during their stay. The phones come pre-installed with several apps, including a chat app for sharing daily updates, minigames, TV shows, and more. Some features require membership fees to unlock. There is even a shopping platform for trading artifacts and materials. Not everyone is convinced by this move. The moon guy from earlier chapters suspects Mo Wang is using the phones to gain influence, and posts a critical comment on his social feed. Meanwhile, Mo Wang continues working as the fairy reports that phones have been distributed to almost all disciples but admits she doesn't understand the purpose behind it. Mo Wang explains that the phones will reveal people's preferences, habits, and secrets, like someone asking a girl out or others ordering beauty supplements. This collection of information is what he calls big data. He gives the gathered data to the fairy to help manage the Mount Sinling sect more efficiently. However, the fairy soon realizes that Mo Wang can access all the phone data. He explains that permissions can be adjusted, but Beizi and Zai Ping are not convinced. They confront Mo Wang, insisting he disable the monitoring features on their phones. To avoid trouble, Mo Wang agrees. What puzzles him though is why they want to keep their data private when there's nothing suspicious on their phones. Unlike Hiwu, who openly shares some questionable pictures without any shame. The old man, pulling a classic ninja move, slips out in the dead of night to meet a shady duo. They dive into a chat about otherworldly tech, double-checking this mysterious device for any spiritual glitches. The old man then drops the bomb that the one from the other world is none other than Mo Wang, and casually asks if they want to use the dimensional link to level up and ascend to another world. Meanwhile, Mo Wang is playing 4D chess, monitoring everyone's moves with Jiping, Baiji, and a dragon, who's low-key impressed that Mo Wang's basically harvesting data like a hacker with a PhD. They've uncovered that 3 people summoned Mo Wang, all sneaking in disguised as wandering cultivators to infiltrate Mount Shanling. This secret squad, Chao Wendao, has been around longer than your grandma's legendary fruitcake recipe. Feng Cheng is probably the OG sect leader of the Heavenly Dragon sect from 5 millennia ago. Du Yue was likely the ex-leader of the Moonshadow sect, which ghosted 6,000 years back. He Chang, old boss of the Po Fen sect from 4,000 years ago. Basically, these guys are ancient AF, like living legends that even history textbooks are shook by. In the cultivation game, each breakthrough boosts lifespan, but even the highest ascension only nets about 3,000 years tops. These 3 though are basically cheating the system harder than someone hacking their RPG stats way past the natural limit. Mo Wang points out that without their sneaky intel, these ancient beasts would have stayed undercover forever. The dragon admits they can't outmuscle those 3 old-timers straight up, but Mo Wang's got a plan to flex in areas those relics wouldn't even think to check. Turns out these old dudes have a group chat on their phones, which is hilarious because Fu Chang thinks he's texting his old pals, but it's actually Baizi and Jaiping trolling him from the shadows. The dragon, curious as ever, asks about the next move, and Mo Wang lays down the strategy. Keep it low-key, no alerts. Gather all the receipts first since they're basically operating blindfolded right now. Back with the squad, Mo Wang breaks the news that he's found a way back home, triggering a wave of congratulations from the crew. But Aishuan's vibe is more "I'm not mad, just disappointed." A Liang tries to hype up the good news but can't shake the weird mood, though Aishuan fakes the cheer like a pro. A Liang insists Aishuan shouldn't keep secrets from the gang because cultivating is straight up a win, but Aishuan worries if Mo Wang returns bringing a bunch of cultivators, Earth might not feel like Earth anymore, like it's about to get a major reboot. The chat goes back to casual mode, with A Liang trolling, asking if Aishuan's satisfied now. Suddenly Aishuan grabs her and declares it's time to check out the ruins. Launching into action, he scans the area like a boss and figures out the ruins are well hidden underground, with spiritual energy sites drying up on Earth. Axwen's basically secure in his claim as the strongest cultivator around. Talk about home court advantage. As they land in the ancient ruins, Axwen debates whether to chill and wait for Mo Wang's grand return, or just YOLO and take fate into his own hands. The old man watches the kids sleep, and after a few thousand years of procrastinating like a true ancient, he finally decides it's time to make a move. He stands before an ancient tree, pulls out his phone and declares it's time for a face-to-face meetup. But here's the twist. Instead of just texting, he uses his own spell to send the message. On the other side, the dragon senses a massive energy wave barreling their way, triggering Mo Wang into full-on panic mode because let's be real, no one wants to tussle with ascension-level old-timers who probably have centuries of bad breath and ancient grudges. The dragon, however, stays chill and orders everyone to jet to the Illusion Realm, a place still packed with traps designed specifically to mess with ascension-level dudes. Talk about a boss-level escape plan. But just as they exit the Beast Sect, their path is blocked by none other than the old man himself. Fu Kang's greeting is all sunshine and rainbows, but the dragon isn't buying it, weapon drawn, shouting for everyone to run like their lives depend on it. Then the fairy steps in to shield Mo Wang, and Jiping covers Baizi, forming a squad that's basically the Avengers but with more magic and less spandex. Surprisingly, the old man assures them he's not here to throw down. To prove it, he literally reaches into his soul and crushes his core, wiping out his cultivation right there on the spot. Talk about commitment to peace talks. He just wants the crew to hear him out properly. He even thanks Mo Wang for opening his eyes to a whole new world, and giving him the guts to take this drastic step. The gang brings the old man inside, curious and a bit suspicious about why he'd shatter his own core like it's some sort of ancient party trick. The old man confesses he's the one who originally pulled Moang into their world, but he and his crew realize their cultivation levels weren't cutting it for crossing back to the other world. Meanwhile, in the mortal world, Afshan and A Liang are exploring the ruins. Afshan, flexing confidence like he's the final boss, thinks A Liang has nothing to worry about since he's basically the strongest dude on Earth right now. But A Ling sets him straight. She's not scared of the pyramid. It's the creepy vibe that's got her spooked. She teases ActionToon for being as stiff as ever, just like back in their college days. Some things never change. Finally, ActionToon conjures a fireball in his hand that lights up the whole place like a spotlight at a concert. As they scan their surroundings, A Ling spots some ancient Chinese writing. A Xuan's jaw drops when he realizes it's a letter from 5,000 years ago, penned by Mo Wang himself, addressed specifically to him. The message is clear. Don't hide the fact that you can cultivate, and hey, shoot me a WeChat message sometime.